alienate everyone. That was a brilliant job what we did for those last few movies. We sure showed the director the proper way to make a good DC movie.
Now that we have meddled with their visions to match ours, now we are guaranteed to be as popular as the MCU.
What's our vision again?
I have no idea, but as long as it makes the big bucks, I simply do not care.
Excellent point.
Now then, gentlemen, I have a perfect idea for our next big movie. A Joker origin film.
Sir, we already did one.
With Jared Leto.
Oh!
Come in, Mr. Leto.
Yes, it's finally good to get my own movie and play with all my toys.
And hopefully nab us our third Joker Oscar win.
Not so fast, fellas.
What the? Who the hell are you?
It's a Slider cultist. It must be. Only they would be insane enough to come in here so heavily armed.
I'm not a Snyder cultist.
Oh, thank God.
But I'm still heavily armed.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Who are you? And how did you find our top secret meeting?
My name is Mega. And as for how I found you, a little birdie told me.
Why is there a chicken in here?
Hey, be nice to Peep. You wouldn't want to ruffle his feathers now, especially with that detonator he is holding.
Detonator?
Oh yeah, I should probably mention, all of you in this room have explosive devices in your heads implanted by Peep here, so if anyone makes any funny moves, he's gonna press that detonator and then someone's head is gonna go boom.
How did we get explosives implanted in our heads by a chicken?
I don't know, I just came up with that for this scene so I could just have a reason to have a bomb in your heads. You know, lazy writing. I'm sure you can relate.
That's fair.
Well, I think you are bluffing and just playing a big con.
The only con here is you, Jared, for actually thinking you could be better than Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix.
Why, you little...
Now, do I have everyone's attention?
What do you want with us?
It's not necessarily what I want, but what people want. We are sick of you messing with directors and their visions, as well as just coming up with so many projects that never amount to anything.
But it makes money.
It makes people pissed off, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of all the shady shit you guys have been doing before and after what happened with Justice League.
Well, what do you expect us to do?
How about letting the directors you pick do whatever the hell they want, free of interference, and actually allow them to make good stuff that people are going to end up loving and actually wanting?
That isn't an easy task.
Oh, bullshit. It's very easy. You did that with the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is the follow-up to 2016's Suicide Squad with the return of Amanda Waller, who once again assembles Task Force X for a new suicidal mission on the remote and dangerous island of Corto Maltese to search and destroy a Nazi-era prison and laboratory named Jotunheim, where political prisoners are held and mysterious experiments take place involving a project called Project Starfish that threatens the world. This time Waller has gathered a new and larger roster of supervillains in order to go against highly militarized opponents, guerrilla forces, and a giant cosmic starfish. Returning members include Rick Flag as the team leader once again, Harley Quinn, and Captain Boomerang. They are now joined by Bloodsport, Polka Dot Man, Peacemaker, Savant, Javelin, Ratcatcher 2, Mongal, Blackguard, TDK, Weasel, and King Shark. With the promise of reduced prison sentences, this team must risk life and limb, literally, to complete their new mission or risk getting their heads detonated. What did you do that for? No, I didn't say to detonate. I was just reading off what I was saying in my review. It's okay, just don't do it again unless they try something. Despite the previous film being a box office hit, it was poorly received by critics and fans alike for being a complete mess that was reshot and mangled via studio interference, as well as having a rushed production. Rather than David Ayer returning to direct, we instead get the highly acclaimed director James Gunn, who takes the team of ragtag supervillains in a whole new direction compared to the previous entry, as well as giving the film an R rating that it should have had. The result? I fucking love this movie. This was an insane and fun film with a bigger roster of twisted characters that are all perfectly casted, incredible direction that goes in unexpected ways, fantastic writing that has great humor as well as a vulgarness to it and heart, awesome effects both practical and digital, as well as extreme amounts of exhilarating action and gory violence that's ripped straight from a graphic novel. There was just no one better to tackle all of this than James Gunn, who is perhaps the best comic book film director of our generation. You can tell he was really passionate about making this film due to the amount of effort he put into everything. It was also really awesome to see him take great inspiration from all the Suicide Squad comics for this film, more specifically the comic run made by John Ostrander, the original creator of the Suicide Squad. Everything from the setting, the tone, the practical costumes, and the 70s era style all feel like John Ostrander's Suicide Squad stories, but with the addition of James Gunn's type of filmmaking. Due to major spoilers, I can't go into too much detail about the story and all the characters in this film, but I can do my best to talk about them, including the major standouts, without giving anything away. The biggest thing I can say is that all the characters are excellent. They are very well written, have amazing chemistry with each other, and have all been given deeply committed performances by their respective cast members. Viola Davis was perfect for the role of Amanda Waller in the first film, and she once again continues to be perfect as the character in this one. The difference here is that she gets a lot more excellent scenes to show just how fucking terrifying she is as the handler of the Suicide Squad, and how she's willing to take any extreme measure to get what she wants regardless of what lives are lost in the process. She doesn't need powers to control these supervillains with such ease, and we are given a brilliant cold-blooded performance by Viola Davis. Rick Flag returns in this film. While I know most people don't really care for his character, I think people will start caring for him when they see him in this film. Talk about a seriously great upgrade from a bland shell of a character we had in the last film. Flag was less jaded, more naive, more funnier, and more human compared to the first film. I found myself attached to him more than I ever thought I would, and I'm majorly happy with that. This felt a lot like the Rick Flag I knew from comics, who felt like an actual character and not a walking, talking cliche army man that we had before. Also, Joel Kinnaman is fucking awesome in this portrayal of the character. The beloved Harley Quinn returns once again and is beautifully played by Margaret Robbie as the true catalyst of chaos on the team. Out of all of her 3 appearances in the DCEU, this for me was the best one next to Birds of Prey. She was absolutely amazing in this film. She has a lot of new layers added to her while also maintaining the same crazy character we all know and love. She gets a lot of spectacular action sequences, and with so many new faces, she gets to really have fun chemistry with everyone she interacts with, and we really get to see more sides of her than we haven't really seen before. And now we move to the newer faces to join the squad, who I feel include most of the biggest standouts of the entire film. Idris Elba takes a strong leading role as Bloodsport, a deadly mercenary who can craft numerous weapons from a technologically advanced suit, and was imprisoned for shooting down Superman. That's right, shooting down Superman, the Man of Steel, with a kryptonite bullet. And before you ask, no, this character is not a replacement for Deadshot, nor is he the same character as Deadshot. They may both have weapon-based skills and both have daughters, but they hugely differ in their stories and their personalities. And no offense to Will Smith's Deadshot, but I actually ended up loving Bloodsport a lot more for his story, his relationship with his daughter, and his development in the film. He felt complex, and while he does deliver some really funny scenes, he absolutely fucking nails the dramatic scenes, both in the intense sequences and in the smaller moments. He felt like a really gripping character for me, and he also shows how he can truly be a deadly assassin with his abilities. Ratcatcher 2, who has the ability to control rats, I felt was definitely going to be the heart of the film in some way, and I was right. Out of all the villains on the team, she felt like the more innocent of the group, and she has a big heart and tries to look for the best in others and ends up connecting with most of the other teammates, including Bloodsport and King Shark most of all. She was a wonderful addition to the cast, being given a great performance by the beautiful Daniela Melchior, I hope I said that right, and has some really standout scenes that I found to be very emotional. Her ability to control armies of rats is very interesting and is used effectively, but by far the best part was her little sidekick rat Sebastian. I normally despise rats in real life, but with how adorable and cute Sebastian is, I am willing to make an exception. He truly was a star of the film in his own way, and I feel some people may end up having a new appreciation for rats after seeing this film. Polka Dot Man, one of the most infamous and ridiculous comic book films in history for his costume and powers based on polka dots, is perhaps the most unique and interesting character of the entire squad, having perhaps the most twisted and saddening story. He is essentially the big underdog of this film that suffers from great pain both physically and mentally, yet manages to pull off great acts to help out the team. Through the combined effort of David Dastmalchian's fantastic performance and James Gunn's direction for the character, they turned one of the biggest joke characters in comic book history into a very beloved character that I don't think anyone will expect to get so attached to. But he wasn't the only character that ended up being such a big surprise in the film. We have the character Peacemaker, played by John Cena. I know for most people, John Cena has never really been taken serious as an actor, but I had always held out hope that he would one day end up having a breakout role that would defy expectations and really show what Cena can actually do. And that breakout role has come at last in the form of an insanely patriotic and murderous peacemaker who is willing to achieve peace at any cost no matter how many people he has to kill along the way. Cena himself has often described the character as a douchey Captain America, and he is definitely right about that, as it feels Peacemaker truly symbolizes the modern face of America and the worst parts of it.
Ah yes, the Peacemaker TV series on HBO Max. I was just thinking of an idea for a Black Canary series that could also go on HBO Max.
What the fuck, dude? Yes, I know I said blow up their heads if they suggest any stupid ideas, but that was actually a really good one, and you blew it! Literally! Look, just wait until I say you can do it, okay?
I want to go home.
If there was any character that was going to be the most important one to please me, it had to be King Shark, but my god did he very much please me. Being given the perfect voice by Sylvester Stallone, King Shark is a big standout that will truly win your heart, but will also show that he is the most dangerous member of the team. With great strength and an appetite for human flesh, he could very easily chomp down or rip apart anyone that gets in his way, which can also include his own teammates. I love the way he keeps trying to connect with other characters and kind of ends up being successful with some of them. King Shark was hands down my favorite character of the film and will probably end up being a lot of people's favorites too. With so many other characters involved in this team, there are definitely going to be some that will end up being someone's favorites due to having their own time to shine in the film, even if some of them do end up kicking the bucket. This includes Nathan Fillion's TDK, who I swear probably has one of the most useless powers I've ever seen in a comic book character have, but it's truly hilarious. Some other characters I can't really get into without spoiling so much, like Peter Capaldi's Thinker and the villains, which include military leaders, Corto Maltese, and the Great Starro, of course. I can definitely say that Peter Capaldi does an excellent job as the Thinker, and the Corto Maltese villains are effective for the story and are also given great performances by their respective actors. As for Starro, well, next to Thanos, Kang, Darkseid, Starro is one of the best and biggest villains in comics that I had always wanted to see adapted to the big screen, and we finally see him in full glory, and he doesn't disappoint. For spoiler reasons, I can't get too much into what Starro does in the film, but I can definitely tell you that he looks amazing, and his battle with the Suicide Squad is truly an epic one. The story feels like a gritty, hyper-violent war film from the 1970s that is combined with brilliant heart, bold direction, and vulgar comedy that gets balanced with great drama. The emotional stakes feel just as high as the stakes of the mission, which is exactly what I was hoping for, and the humor is absolutely fucking hilarious. And while there is really great comedy, it never undermines the emotional weight of the film, but rather adds on to it, which was what I was expecting, but not in the way that it was done here. The way the characters are explored in this film is so much better compared to the first installment, as we get to switch between their perspectives and they are given emotional depth that gives us a reason to care for these characters, whether we end up really loving them and wanting to survive their perilous mission, or hate them and wish for a violent death to be struck upon them. This was a much more compelling film that really gets you emotionally invested in all the characters in various ways. There's a lot of characters in this film, featuring the largest ensemble we have had so far in the DCEU, and as you'd expect, most of them do die in a horrific or sometimes hilarious fashion. Some of the deaths you could easily predict may happen, but there are others that are extremely surprising and emotionally impactful. Unlike the first film, where the few deaths we had felt meaningless when they happened, there was little to no tension at all, this film does the exact opposite. You are constantly put at the edge of your seat as these characters are put into deep shit as they face multiple odds against them. They risk being killed by their enemies, by Waller if they fuck around, and they are even at risk of killing each other. After all, you have a bunch of supervillains together who are not so willing to cooperate with each other for various reasons and will not hesitate to kill each other at any time. Some of them do get along, but there are others who won't, which is mostly due to their own personalities or morals. It is done so masterfully, and it's all because of James Gunn's excellent writing and of course the fantastic cast he's picked out. The other thing I love about the film was just how unpredictable it is. You think you know where something is going, and suddenly, boom! Things can go absolutely crazy within a second, keeping you on constant edge throughout the film, especially in the major action sequences, like the absolutely bonkers third act that has become another one of my favorite third acts in comic book films for the emotional stakes, intense actions, and fantastic visuals.
There is one thing it could have had that would have made it even better, though. A great joke where a man falls on a woman's breast.
Peep. The action is absolutely fun and awesome, earning the film its R rating. It feels so huge and hard-hitting, not only because of the stakes, but also because it features some of the biggest practical set pieces and practical effects ever used in the DCEU. CGI is obviously used when it needs to be, including for certain characters and their unique abilities, but for the most part, everything else is practical. This makes the action far more engaging and feels much more tension-filled because of how real it all feels. And even when CGI is used, it all looks really damn great and nails down such amazing textures as well as creates very visually satisfying sequences. Every major sequence feels like an epic yet bloody visual spectacle that is so unhinged that you can't help but have an absolute blast. And with that R rating, they are able to go all out with the violence, featuring some truly gruesome and detailed gore that can range from being hilarious to downright disturbing. This honestly might be the most graphic comic book film I've ever seen. The cinematography for this film is absolutely outstanding, with a vast array of beautiful shots that flesh out everything from the smallest details to thematic sequences to bloody action. Most of the DCU has always featured stellar cinematography in the past, but this honestly might be my favorite of all of them, especially with just how much it absorbs you into everything going on in the film, feeling grounded and gritty yet also larger than life. Since the film was made with specialized IMAX cameras, I went to see it in IMAX theater, and holy shit was it totally worth it. It makes the film feel so huge in scale and adds to the intensity in so many ways. I also love how certain shots feel like an actual comic book panel brought to life and bring out so many great colors. It definitely felt like James Gunn's style and vision was allowed to freely roam on the screen in fantastic ways.
Oh God, so disgusting.
What is?
Freely roaming visions? Give me a break. The best vision is our vision, and no one else's. We will be the ones to decide what is best for our audiences, and not cater to those who wish for free visions. And after all, free visions cost us, a lot of money.
I don't even know what to say to that, except... Peep? The film features both a killer score and soundtrack that definitely makes this film stand out amongst all the DCEU films. Composer John Murphy delivers an intense and epic score that fits for the film and feels unique. It added to the excitement of the mission, and I love how it was hugely utilized in the film way more than I expected. James Gunn's hand-picked songs for the soundtrack are very different from the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtracks, yet still absolutely fit in the style and tone of the film. And if they end up releasing the full soundtrack just like they did with the Guardians films, you can totally bet that I am buying it. There is also a post-credits scene at the very end of this film, as you would come to expect, and I can honestly say, when it comes to post-credits scenes, this is probably the boldest one I have ever seen. The Suicide Squad was everything I would hoped it would be, but it also gave me much more than I could have ever imagined. It has not only become my new favorite DCU film, but also my new favorite comic book film of all time. James Gunn was allowed to bring forth his full vision to life, and it has led to a great success. Hopefully, this has shown the studio the huge error of their past ways with meddling with the visions of their artists and will prevent them from causing future damage to other creators. And that is all I wanted to say to you guys, because by God, you are so fucking stubborn.
Have we really been doing it wrong all this time?
Yes! You have all kept fucking around so much that you have almost ruined all of the great potential of your cinematic universe. But if this film has proven anything, it has proven that DC is not beyond saving. You can still deliver amazing works that earn love and praise from everyone if you just let the directors do what they want.
I guess we can try.
As a once great teacher said, do or do not. There is no try. Let's go home, Peep. We are done here. Oh, the detonator? You can throw that away.
Well, that settles it. I'm gonna make a true clean slate for the DCEU going forward.